Hey YouTube, welcome to the first look of the DJI Osmo Action Camera, specifically for motovlogging or motorcycle riding with this attached to your helmet. So hold up, before you start skimming ahead in the video trying to find test footage, get away from this talking head, let me just tell you why we need a competitor to the GoPro lineup. So if you're a motovlogger like myself, you need good audio. To have good audio on the GoPro, you need to get this little dongle. The DJI Osmo Action does not have one as of today. But that didn't stop me from going on Amazon and finding every USB-C adapter that I can find and purchasing them and testing them out. But guess what? None of them work. Tested every single one of them, and as of today, there is not an external USB-C mic adapter that works with the Osmo Action yet. But with that being said, I have no doubts that DJI is going to release some sort of firmware update and an accessory similar to this to where it enables an external mic. So let's backtrack a little bit. Why do we need an Osmo Action or DJI competitor to the GoPro lineup, which is pretty solid, right? With motovlogging, for me at least, I need to be able to have a constant supply of power. So I can't just rely on the little battery inside the GoPro. I have to actually have some sort of external battery pack that keeps juice flowing into the camera for the entire ride, which sometimes can last 4 or 5 hours, maybe longer. That's not to say I'm recording for all 4 to 5 hours, but it just means that something, especially if it's a big group ride, can happen during the ride and I can't pull over at that moment to change a battery out. The issue lies when you have the external battery pack plugged in and you also have your external mic plugged in. There's been issues with the GoPro overheating from the constant power going through it, and also the audio sometimes picks up, sometimes doesn't. So nothing takes the wind out of your sails quicker than coming back from a good ride where something happens, either the video content's not there because the GoPro froze, or the audio is bad because it didn't pick up the internal microphone, or the external microphone rather. So when DJI announced the Osmo Action on a Wednesday and made it available for a Wednesday, I put $350 out of my bank account towards DJI's newest product. I'm all about supporting somebody that's coming along and challenging GoPro, because if it makes it better for motovloggers and riders, that's a good thing. So with all that being said, let's roll into some of the test footage, watch all of it, wait till the end. I got some more things to say which are important to whether or not you decide to purchase this if you're a rider. One quick note, I did record mostly in 1080/60 since that's what I record in for most of my motovlogs. And based on my analytics on YouTube, about 75 to 80% of you are watching this right now on your mobile device. Let me know in the comments section below if you watch this on a computer, a tablet, or your mobile device. And that kind of dictates why I don't really care about 4K that much. Rock and roll. These are both now in 1080/60 with rock solid and hyper smooth off, and then on top of that I'm in super view on this one, and then the widest possible setting on the Osmo. I can tell right now it's not that wide, but we're gonna roll with it. Gonna do a couple of stand-ups and test out the hyper smooth and rock solid, or rock steady, whatever it's called. Boom, hard down. All right, now we'll do a speed test. So just sitting on the bike, normal position, looking right, looking left, looking down, and looking up. 1080, 60 frames per second with rock steady and hyper smooth on. Widest setting here, which is super view, and then whatever this is, non-D warp, I guess. There you go. So as you can see, The field of view on the Osmo Action is not as wide as the GoPro with the super view. But what's really cool about this camera is the fact that you can unscrew and screw on the lens cap. So the ability for a reputable company like Polar Pro to come out with a fisheye, something that screws on, fisheye lens adapter, it's pretty strong. It seems like it would be a pretty easy mod to do since you already got the threads. All you gotta do is have a fisheye lens and screw it on there. It can even stick out a little bit because it's gonna be a fisheye. Even though I'm not impressed by the field of view on the Osmo Action on the widest setting, which is rock steady off, de-warp off, and 1080 60, I'm still optimistic that somebody, if not Polar Pro, somebody's gonna come along and create a fisheye adapter for this. So if you're looking to put this on your helmet, that's going to kill it right there. Your field of view is going to look like you're floating. If you do it the widest setting with rock steady off, you might as well just go get a GoPro Hero 3. So that brings me to my next point. Do you really need the rock steady or the hyper smooth when riding? It depends the type of riding you're doing. So if you're doing off-roading and you want that smooth experience, then yeah, of course you would want to turn that on. But with riding, especially with aggressive riding, I don't find it to be that necessary. In fact, it takes away from some of the atmosphere of like a tough course. If you're going off-roading and you're going through tough jumps, you want the viewer, especially you guys that are watching it from the comfort of your home or on the toilet, to be immersed in that rough terrain. So the majority of my riding is on the road, which is pretty smooth. It's almost like a big steady cam just rolling down the road. So for me, hyper smooth is not that big of a deal. Speaking of hyper smooth, something that's out there but a lot of people don't know about, if you enable the hyper smooth on the Hero 7, not the 6, but the Hero 7, and you plug in an external battery and your external mic, your audio will be out of sync in about a second.
So for iPods.
Let's get a McDonald's Blizzard.
Okay.
So you plug in your SD card in your computer, you look at the video, you pop a wheelie or do something aggressive with your revs, it'll be about a second ahead of the video, which is kind of annoying.
Alright, longest second year wheelie attempt. Take two.
And it's a known issue. It's out there on the support forums for GoPro, but GoPro hasn't announced it. It's been out there for about 6 to 8 months. So it'll be interesting to see if the DJI Osmo Action has a similar issue once the external mic comes out and we try to run power through it, and then also an external battery or external mic, excuse me. But as of right now, is it a buy or not buy for a motovlogger or a rider? I would say it's a not buy unless you have another use for it. So the front screen is kind of useful if you put it on the front of your bike, but again, it's not as wide as the GoPro. For me, I wouldn't justify $350 over the GoPro, even though I'm excited about DJI coming out with something like this. We're not there yet. So hopefully in a future release, they'll do the mic adapter. Maybe there'll be an adapter for this so we can have a wider field of view. And then one thing that I'm also not a huge fan of is the fact that they put the SD card right underneath the USB-C adapter port. So that means if we have an adapter like GoPro where it just plugs in simply like that, we leave the SD card slot open for dust, water, whatever gets in there. So DJI or third party, if you're listening, make a little tab that goes right there. So when you plug in the USB-C, it covers that. Just helps us with a little bit of protection in case a raindrop kind of falls on it or some dust gets in there on the trail. Everything about the build I like. We just got to see if it catches up to GoPro as far as the field of view, the ability to use an external mic without having issues. As far as today, if you're looking for a reliable motovlogging setup, I have a video on it, but I use on all my videos, and I have two GoPro Hero 6s, one Hero 7, and also this little guy, which I used in the past. But to make it quick, you have to mount on the side of your helmet, and it's just not a great view. So what I'm using today, as of today, 2019, is the GoPro Hero 4. I think that's the silver or the black, whichever one doesn't have the screen on the back. And then I got my mic, which plugs directly into the USB port there, runs to an external battery. So the external adapter, which plugs directly in the back to my battery pack, and I can go all day with this. 128 gig card, can last me about 4 hours, and the battery pack can run the whole time. The best part about it, I fire it up, I hit start, the audio is 100% gonna work. So there's no issues with the audio similar to using this guy on the Hero 5 or 7. All right, so let me know how I did. I'm gonna be setting up a new helmet and a new motovlogging setup on this, so stay tuned for that video. My new helmet from Bell, it's the Bell Star. Excited about this, but I do have some fix in the works, which I think might work with the GoPro Hero 7, so stay tuned for that. I think I have a nice little workaround that will kind of enable hyper smooth and not have to use an external battery pack. So stay tuned for that. But I think I have a fix. I have to do a little bit more testing before I put the video out there. As far as the Osmo Action goes, stay tuned. We'll do another video on this. We'll do some filter reviews and see how it stacks up on the road. And then maybe we'll just use this for a good B-roll camera in the future. So in the future, obviously accessories are going to catch up to GoPro. And one thing cool about it is they made their external cage, their frame cage, the same as GoPro. So all those accessories that you already own work hand in hand with this. So that's kind of cool. But unfortunately, there's no mic adapter that works. And the fact that the field of view is so narrow, I don't see this as a good motovlogging or riding camera. But with all that being said, I am hopeful for DJI for this little camera. This is the first version they released it. They announced it on a Wednesday, sold it on a Wednesday. I got it on a Monday. So we're gonna do a little bit more hands-on tests. We're gonna see if we can figure out some hacks for this. And hopefully by the time more videos come out, there'll be more accessories that follow. So if you're listening to DJI Polar Pro, get yourself a wide angle filter for this guy as soon as possible. That's the first thing I would recommend. And then on top of that, we need more batteries and we need the ability to have an external mic. That way we can motovlog. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like down below, leave a comment if you have any questions or if I missed something, or check the comments down below. If there's a future video for this, I'll link it down below and we'll revisit it a couple months from now. All right, guys, I appreciate you watching, and that's the DJI Osmo Action Camera. Nope, too close. There we go. All right, we'll see you in the next one.